Hey, sorry for the interruption, but we wanted to let you know that this week's episode is brought to you by Spotify for Podcasters. Really cool app. Josiah and I use it for every single show that we bring to you every week. You can edit podcasts right from your phone or computer, so you can start creating as soon as you log into the platform. You can easily distribute your podcasts to Spotify and everywhere else the podcasts are heard, just like we do every single week. You can also create video podcasts on Spotify, which is really cool. And of course, you can earn money like I'm doing right now by including ads and even podcast subscriptions. And best of all, it's totally free. There's no catch. We really love it. We use it every single week. So we encourage you to go download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started. All right, let's get back to the show.
Welcome to this week's episode of the Print on Demand Cast. Each week, join Travis and Josiah as they provide insight into the print-on-demand industry and equip you with the tools, advice, and strategy you need to achieve success and hopefully have a few laughs along the way. Now, on to this week's show.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back once again to the podcast, the P.O.D. cast, the Print-on-Demand cast. We're excited to be bringing this episode to you guys. Christmas is nigh. It's very, very close as we record this, Travis. It is the Monday before Christmas. And just as a little, disclaimer, this show will probably be a little shorter, a little bit more off script, a little more loose, a little bit more banter. But nonetheless,
so different than our other podcasts.
Yeah, I guess the time might be the only thing that's different. I don't know. We make no promises, but we're kind of going off script. And so, as always, joined by Travis, who is joining us from his office there in Make Your Mark Designs. How's it going, man? You have a busy day?
Dude, it is crazy busy. I'm sure everybody listening to this is right in the thick of it as well. Actually, this particular episode is coming out on Wednesday, which is also my birthday.
Yes. So as you are listening to this, it is Travis's birthday. He is 29 again. However many times, Travis, I don't know. He's 29 with years of experience, and which is awesome. So if you're listening to this, hop onto our Facebook page and tell Travis happy birthday. Let him know that you're listening and wish him a happy birthday as he trudges through the fourth quarter, the final 2 minutes of Q4 on his birthday. Any plans?
Good times.
Are you just going to be working on your birthday this year?
Oh, 1,000%. Yeah. I've already, so we get, the post office picks up around 2 or 3. And so I don't feel like we're going to have all the orders done. So I'm probably going to be making a trek to the post office with a bunch of last minute, orders. Cause I don't want them to sit, over the weekend and then not ship out till Monday. So I got to get them at least, in the system. Yeah. That kind of leads us into our next section.
That's actually a really great natural segue for this. You get it into the system, and then you let it be the post office fault for not showing up on time and not your fault. Which, listen, I've used the post office as a scapegoat plenty of times in talking to customers. Like, listen, we literally put it in, I dropped it off myself, and I don't know why it hasn't left Denver yet. I'd love to get an answer for you. I'll keep in touch. So it's much easier, and it seems people understand. But we're gonna bring back another segment that we've done before called Apparel Rants. Hello? Yes, is this Josiah, the co-host of the P.O.D. cast? Yeah? Well, congratulations, Josiah. You are on Apparel Rants.
Are you serious?
I am.
Are you serious? Oh my God, I gotta get Travis. Travis, you made it on Apparel Rants. Come on, we gotta go. We're on the show right now.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. So buckle up because it is time for Apparel Rants. As you guys know, it's the Monday before Christmas, and so we are in the thick of Q4. We've talked about that kind of going into Q4 what we anticipated. Well, now we are in the middle of it and about to exit Q4 into returnuary, as they call it. Which when you do print on demand, there's not a whole lot of returns, but you'll still have that happen as it happens in every January. Sure. So, Travis, you were telling me before we pressed record, which kind of you were just kind of venting a little bit about what was happening, and I was like, well, we should probably lay some of this down when we're recording for an Apparel Rants. And you were telling me that you actually Googled post office delays and then went to the video section, took a link, created a bit.ly, and put it in your customer service emails. So tell us a little bit about that, and what was the preemptive, why did you do that, I guess? What was that in response to?
Sure. I mean, we're not going to be able to control the post office. I read somewhere or heard somewhere that there are 800 million more packages being shipped this year than there were last year. And that's just the post office, and that's just in the U.S. So, I mean, you can go ahead and Google it. Literally go to Google right now, somebody.
Okay.
And
I'm on it. We're doing it
just
live.
All right, cool. Post office delays, and you will see a page full of headlines. At least the media is picking up on this, because in years past, people would order on, the Monday before Christmas and expect to get it, before Christmas, and it just doesn't work that way.
Right.
So I basically went there, took a screenshot. I grabbed the link, created a shorter link to put in my customer service emails to say, when they're like, hey, where's my package? What's going on? Yeah. I mean, there are so many delays with the post office. And it's not just the post office. It's UPS, it's FedEx, it's DHL. It's all of them, the usual suspects. Everyone has delays because there's so many more packages than there were last year.
You said 800 million. Is that what you said?
Yes. Are you finding something else? Or are you looking that up?
No. I'm just Googling and kind of browsing the headlines of this. It's millions of Christmas presents may arrive late because of the Postal Service delays. The next one says U.S. Postal Service delays. What's to blame? The other one, the reason the holiday packages are arriving so late. USPS struggles to deliver by mail by Christmas. It's everywhere. So you're right.
We're actually lucky, though, as e-commerce sellers, that the media has picked up on it. Perhaps it's gotten so bad that that's why they're picking up on it, and at least people are aware. Yeah. If this had happened last year, every year you're going to get somebody that's like, "Hey, my package hasn't moved in 10 days, and I demand my money back." And I'm like, okay, well, that's kind of why I wanted to put that link in my responses. I mean, I have a whole script that I normally send out, but I felt like it was important to just help people manage expectations, because
totally.
It's one of, Amazon really has created this entitled shopping culture. Yeah. I get everything in 1 day, 2 days, as fast as I expect to get my product in 2 days. And the way things are right now with COVID, with, the vaccines being shipped all over the place. I mean, that's happening right now. Yeah. Vaccines are being shipped right next to your Christmas presents. It's nuts.
That's very true.
And there's just so many things that are happening right now in our culture that are slowing the mail down.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm looking on Amazon right now with some of my stuff that's on my Christmas list or what have you. And right now, some of it's January 9th to the 11th for Prime members. Need a gift sooner? Well, then get a gift card, which, but December 31st through January 18th. There's one that says it'll be here by Thursday, which is kind of crazy. I would imagine delays would be inevitable on that, but nonetheless, Amazon has kind of contributed to this whole Prime badge. I get it in 2 days because I deserve it. You know what I mean? I don't need to wait, but there's just so much happening, and there's people that are ordering today,
Yep.
and expecting it to be there by Christmas. I told you before we pressed record that there's a gal that I know personally who said, "Hey, I'm looking for some last minute Christmas gifts," which is always super hilarious to me. I don't know if you've experienced this yet, but there are people who I know personally that will just send me link after link, like, "Hey, can you make this? Hey, can you make this? Hey, can you make this? Hey, last minute. Hey, can you make this?" Even today, "Hey, I got like 4 shirts." I'm like, "Yeah, sure. Yeah, we'll find time to squeeze you in there for your last minute shopping needs." But this lady lives in Indiana, and she was like, "Hey, I need these by Christmas Eve," and she wanted a light pink sweater, which again, availability is another thing that's an issue here. Stock availability, because we don't have a lot of stuff in stock. We have to order some stuff, and our suppliers don't have, which we've touched on in previous episodes. So I had to wait for this thing to get here. And it got here today, and we shipped it out today. But I was like, listen, I can't guarantee Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, post-Christmas Eve. Like, I don't know when it's going to get to you. But we sent it, which is why we were talking about developing a new printing method that is going to be known as the print as soon as stock arrives method, otherwise known as Pasasa. Pasasa. Because that seems like
it literally sounds like Mufasa's like cousin twice removed or something. From the Lion King,
the adopted brother that didn't make the movie, Pasasa. Yeah, Mufasa and Scar that were biologically related, and then you had the adopted brother that got shunned out of the movie for some reason. But yes, Pasasa. We're going to take a run at it. I don't think it's going to go over very well because it's going to test people's patience on both sides of the ordering process. But man,
totally.
It's crazy. What else have you experienced? I mean, you talked about, stuff being out of stock. As things get closer.
I mean, and that's just it. I mean, we were talking earlier, just print on demand creates its own issue because I don't have your custom design sitting on my shelf on the size and color that you want, so I can just pull it and put it in a bag and ship it. I have to make it. So it's not only, a lot of people that are selling online, they have stock of their products.
Sure.
And yeah, sure, I have, certain items in stock, like I have 11-ounce coffee mugs. I have 15-ounce coffee mugs that I can print on, but I still have to print it.
Yeah, you have to actually
before I ship it.
Yeah,
yeah. And then, and the whole reason we decided to create this new printing methodology, Pasasa, was because there are things, particularly when you're talking about apparel, that we don't stock. The shirt or the sweater you were talking about was a light pink.
Right.
And it's not a hot pink. It's not a regular pink. It's a light pink. And I don't know how many custom or how many colors like a company like Bella Canvas has, but I want to say it's like 80 to 90 different colors just on their regular, basic 100% cotton T-shirt.
Yep.
I'm not stocking 80 to 90 colors.
Exactly.
With all of those sizes. That's just not happening.
No.
So, people, I mean, at the end of the day, and we do call this Apparel Rants because I know I sound like I'm ranting right now, but at the end of the day, customers really need to have their expectations. They need realistic expectations.
Yeah.
It's just impossible to do what we do. Without some delays sometimes. And then you compound that with delays from the post office, and it just, it rolls into this huge monster that, I'm basically just trying to, keep my head above water when it comes to customer service emails.
Sure.
It's pretty nuts.
Yeah, it is. I'm on a supplier's website right now, just looking at, the next level premium tee, just their 100% cotton tee. They've got 36 different colors. Some of which aren't readily available, some of which are readily available. But to your point, I'm not going to stock 35 different colors consistently. You know what I mean? I might have 8 or 9 of the most common. And like you said, that light pink is one of those. It's like that's a random. I don't sell a lot of light pinks, so I'm not just going to stock up on them and have them sit here. So you have to go out and order those things. So yeah,
Right.
managing the expectations is huge. If you're listening and you're a customer and you're ordering stuff, I believe the word that I use often is grace. Have some grace for the process and the pain of what's happening for the people who are trying to supply the things you're buying and trying their hardest to get it out in a timely manner. But like Travis said, there's just so many variables involved in this process that's causing things to be delayed and sometimes significantly. But what else can you do? What are you Googling over there? I see you Googling something.
I went to the actual Bella Canvas website and looked up their regular 3001, and they have 60 colors, and then they also have their 3001 CC, which is their heather.
Their heathers, yeah.
So it's the 3001, but it's a heather, and they have another 61 of those. So that's 121 colors. So yeah, let's just stock all of those and, have like $100,000 in stock.
Space is no issue. Money is no issue. I'll just have my money sitting on shelves for months at a time until someone wants a mauve t-shirt specifically.
Exactly.
It's
ladies and gentlemen, that's why we call this section the Apparel Rants.
Apparel Rants.
That's exactly right. So we'll step off of our soapbox here a little bit, because we could probably rant about many things that we experience in the DTG business. That being said, it really is a great industry to be in, especially this time of year. Q4 it's a love-hate. You love it, you hate it, but it's what kind of sets the standard and sets kind of the momentum going into what Q1 and 2 will be for you. So very important. It is just sometimes frustrating. So we're going for the main event today. We're going to do something that we've never done before, and it's kind of exciting to be able to say that we can have this kind of episode because we have been getting some feedback and some interaction from you, the listeners. So we're going to do, for this main event, we're going to do a mailbag segment. So mailbag, listener questions. We both get the emails that come into info@printondemandcast, obviously, and it's been really cool to see an uptick in that activity. Kind of seeing that this is kind of gaining some traction, that this is the resource that we wanted it to be when we started months ago, in the summer, which is super cool. And I think it has a lot to do with consistency. We just are putting stuff out there consistently, and people are kind of getting in the habit of finding our content and listening to it and listening to you and I talk for 40 minutes at a time, which good on you guys. It's incredible persistence and endurance. But we have the first question is from Kara, I believe, correct? And Kara says, Hi. I recently started listening to your podcast, and I'm happy to have come across it as I can't find much on print on demand in podcast form. Sidebar, again, why we started it. She continues, I am a current Amazon FBA seller of PL, a private label product, but looking for other streams of income, maybe something that I have more control over. So I'm wondering how doing a product or niche research differs for P.O.D, and what tools you can use to help select a niche for a P.O.D store. I am interested in more of an outsourced P.O.D. store like using Shopify or Printify. I have listened to Wholesale Ted's YouTube videos for some info, and I was wondering if you two have heard of her or knew of any other good ways to learn this business model. Thank you. Congrats to the podcast, and keep it up. So, Travis, hearing Kara's question, it sounds kind of like a kind of similar thing that you and I have both experienced of selling private label on Amazon and then kind of pivoting to P.O.D. I think we've even called selling T-shirts kind of like poor man's private label, for lack of a better term, like because you're selling your own thing, you're making it yourself, you're putting your brand on it. So what would you say to Kara as far as how you find a niche, how you select that, what tools you're using? What's your initial thoughts when you hear her question?
Yeah, I mean, I did email Kara back and said just what you said, that I think private label is the perfect launching point into print on demand, particularly on Amazon. She's already got a private label brand that she's selling on Amazon. So she knows how to, create a listing, how to make sure that her listings have good keywords and have good titles and descriptions. And she knows the difference between a bad product picture and a good product picture. And on Amazon, I don't know if we've said it on the podcast, but you and I both know the pictures really sell the product.
Yes.
And, in print on demand, most of the time you're using a mock-up, but it goes without saying, it's still super important. So as far as like what niche to get into, or research in regards to, to a P.O.D. store, I honestly feel like it's pretty much unlimited. My recommendation would be going for something you like. And when I say it's unlimited, obviously there are a lot of print on demand stores out there.
Yeah.
But I think when it's something you like, I think you won't run out of good ideas, or what I mean by that is you won't get bogged down by coming up with new ideas, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Right. Like if I was going to start a Shopify store and you do print on demand products, and I was going to do, cause I did my research and whatever, and I found out that plants, were a good niche to get into and to really do a cool Shopify store. And I started putting out content about plants.
Right.
I'm going to last about, 3 or 4 months before I just cannot take it anymore, because I don't really care about plants. That's not something that interests me. Yeah. And so I'm going to get bored. I'm going to get tired of it, and I'm not going to continue, so I think that's my first and probably best suggestion, because what I meant by you can really go any direction. Obviously, like I said, there's a lot of print on demand stores, and there's probably some about plants if that is your passion.
Sure.
But I don't think that you are limited by ideas in this business. I think there's always a new, fresh way to present your content differently than somebody else's store. Right. And so I don't think that it's saturated in the way that we would typically think, like, a private label brand might be saturated. There's only so many ways you can show a garlic press. Right. You know what I mean? There's only so many ways to sell that, to present that to your potential customer. But there are literally a million ways you can present a plant-based print-on-demand store / product. There are a million ways. So I think the saturation thing, and Kara, I think your desire to like drill down into a niche and really get into the research like you did with private label, perhaps that shouldn't be as huge of a focus as you want it to be, as it was with your private label, because I think it really is a different animal. What would you say, Josiah? Do you agree with that assessment? Because that's kind of what I told her, but I don't think I was that broad with my explanation when I emailed her back.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think sometimes, and you and I have talked about this too, when it comes to trying to drill down and find a niche and figuring out what you should do. In PL, in my experience, is something that we've both come to call, analysis paralysis, where sometimes you can get so focused on what you're trying to find in the niche, and you don't know if this going to be saturated, is it not going to be saturated, and then you end up just kind of stalling because you don't know what you're supposed to do. And so I think, Travis's point, if you're passionate about something, if you have something that you love and you're passionate about, and you can make content, t-shirts, mugs, whatever, designs you can make around that area, is a great place to start. And you can present it differently. You can have different looks, different designs, so there's lots of stuff that you can do to differentiate yourself and kind of put yourself above the noise of what's happening, especially in a Shopify sense, because Shopify, you can do so much to really customize your look, target the people you're trying to go for. You can have, good lifestyle shots, or have your friends pose with these shirts, or people are gardening or whatever, going with the plant aesthetic. But There's lots you can do to set yourself apart, but just don't get too caught up because it is a different animal, because it's a different approach. Don't get too caught up in kind of trying to find the niche. Start with the question, what are you passionate about? I could make a Shopify store based on professional wrestling and do funny wrestling related shirts because I've been watching wrestling since I was 5 years old. And there's lots of print on demand stores out there, but I could find a way to make mine a little different and have a different approach. So that's kind of something to think about as you move forward, Kara. But we're super glad that you reached out and asked us the question. And also, did Kara leave us a review? Did she leave us a review?
She sure did, Josiah.
There it is. Yes, the bell. Kara gets the first bell ever of the P.O.D. cast, and another because it was a 5-star review. So, Kara, thank you so much for listening, for asking the questions. We love hearing from you. Let us know if you have any other questions. Let us know if you'd like to follow up on something. Travis, anything else for Kara before we move on to the next letter in the mailbag?
Yeah, just to finish off her email, she asked about Wholesale Ted's YouTube videos. And I don't know if our listeners have heard of Wholesale Ted, but she is, I don't think her name's Ted. I think it's Sarah or something like that. I don't know why her channel's called Wholesale Ted.
Maybe
but she has
TED
like
Talk
600,000. Maybe, I don't know. She's got like 600,000 subscribers, does really high quality videos. But I told, and this is what I told Kara, I think they're pretty simplistic. They're really, really basic, and they don't go into any of the minutia of what we actually do. But at the same time, the basics are the basics. You know what I mean? Like, and to me, the biggest basic is to just move forward, is to do something, is to create a design, is to get a Shopify site, is to, list your first product or whatever that is. The basics are the basics. And while I think she's a little oversimplistic in some of the things that she puts out there, overall, I think she's doing doing the print on demand industry a service by saying, putting content out there that people can at least get interested in and then actually do something. And that's really what this whole podcast, I think that's what we're all trying to do, is put stuff out there so people get inspired to go do something and to move forward in their business. So that was really that was it. That was all I wanted to say. Awesome. I agree. Thanks to Kara for sending that in, and continue to dialogue with us and keep shooting questions to us as you keep moving forward. We'd love to hear what's going on, like what's developing in your world. How are you actually making sales? Are you struggling to make sales? We'd love to hear some updates as we move forward with the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to hear that. If you open up that Shopify store, let us know what it is. We'd love to support, to get the word out about what you're doing. Because again, one of the things that's always really impressed me about the print on demand sphere, as well as the Amazon sphere, is that a lot of people that you run into, there's this idea that, a rising tide lifts all ships. We want to help you. We want to help you. We want to, help you grow, which is really cool. Because sometimes in some businesses and in some arenas, you don't get that kind of synergy feel to it. So we definitely want to help and support you, Kara. So please follow up with us and let us know how that goes. But we're going to move on to Ian's question. Ian says, "My name is Ian, and I just started listening to your podcast this weekend, trying to work my way through all of them. Very informative and enjoyable. Thank you, Ian. And I hope to be able to grow my business further with some of your help and knowledge. I have heard you talk about the specifics of printing and printers, and since I'm new to P.O.D, some of the actual nuts and bolts of printers and the printing process can be a bit confusing. I just have a specific printing question, and it doesn't have to be discussed on the podcast." Well, Ian, it is being discussed on the podcast. "I'm wondering how well do certain patterns show up on a shirt or mug or any item? For example, I know buffalo plaid is popular, and I feel that it shows up pretty well. But how well would a sparkly type pattern show up? Obviously, it wouldn't have shiny, glittery type sparkle. This is an example of what I'm trying to figure out. I basically just took a gold sparkle image that I put on my text, and I just am wondering how it would translate with printing on a product. Thanks in advance for any information that you have. I look forward to hearing from you and listening to more podcasts." Awesome. That's a good question, Ian. I think, the glittery, sparkly type, I know he's not talking about actual glittery and sparkle, like the glitter, because I think that whole thing would probably be a whole different printing process other than a DTG printer for, like, that's like a transfer or a vinyl if you wanted it to actually look like glitter on the shirt, which is different. The kind of effect that you put on your text, in my experience, if you're putting it on a t-shirt or a mug, it would probably show up really well, really crisp, and high and really good definition. The problem is when you put that stuff on hooded sweatshirts and stuff, because you have to lower the platen down further, some of that definition gets lost, and some of that, what is meant to look like glitter effect, can look like it's kind of blurred or out of focus just because of the thickness of the garment that you're printing on. But shirts, mugs, masks, sublimatable stuff, it probably look great.
Yeah.
And I know, we have a lot of people that sell buffalo plaid. You brought that up. I don't understand the craze of buffalo plaid. I don't know where buffalo plaid came from. I don't know if it was Buffalo, New York, or Buffalo Bill. I have no idea why buffalo plaid is a thing. But a lot of our home decor ladies sell the crap out of it. And buffalo plaid shows up great on mugs, shows up great on shirts, hoodies, all that kind of stuff. But in your instance, I would think sublimatable products, or Travis, would you say that maybe even a transfer would probably be a surefire way to do that on all garments across the board, not just, shirts?
Yeah, I think, a screen printed transfer would be awesome for sure.
Yeah.
Because you're getting the quality or the quality of screen print, and that vibrancy, because you can just lay down a ton of ink on those transfers and then you just throw it on the shirt.
Sure.
I did actually respond to Ian, and like you said, I told him sublimation, it's going to look crazy good, because it does limit you to polyester or polyester coated items, but It's going to be perfect. It's going to show up just as long as, like, the time, temperature, and the pressure. Those three things that we talk about, that recipe, getting that recipe right for sublimation. Right. As long as you dial that in, it's going to look gorgeous. And to your point, DTG, I think that was a great point about, the lower the platen is, it's going to lose a little bit of crispness because of the distance from the print head and then the overspray. Really, it kind of can get a little fuzzy the lower that platen is from the print head. But if you can get it, you can get it as close as you can on a t-shirt, it can look pretty dang good. Yeah. He did actually send an attachment with, like, a glittery, sparkly, text-based design. And what it made me think of immediately was a vinyl application, because you can actually get glittery vinyl, and you can get vinyl with different patterns on it already. Right. And then if you're just doing a text-based design, you could literally just buy that color vinyl and cut out your text and throw it on whatever you want at that point. And it's going to be obviously super vibrant because it's literally vinyl. It's going to be very, very sparkly and pretty, and the plaid's going to be really platy. Yeah, no, I don't know.
Platitudes, platypus.
And I don't understand the buffalo plaid thing. That's beyond me. Like, what is
no? Hold on.
Plaid is plaid.
Travis, tell the people what you would call me when we used to travel a lot together. What was I to you?
You are my road wife.
Well, yes, that too.
Oh. Is that too much information? No. You were my own personal Google.
Yes.
That's what you were. Yes. Every time I would ask a question, what would you do, Josiah?
I would pull out my phone. You would say, man, we went to... I still think an episode needs to be dedicated to our road stories, because we had some crazy good times over that year and a half that we traveled together. But you would ask a question. We were in Milwaukee, and we're like, man, I wonder how far this is from Lambeau Stadium. And I would just get up my phone and say, hey, dude, Green Bay is like 2 hours away from here. Or, man, I wonder what the weather is. Okay. Because here's the thing, and I tell my sister-in-law this. My sister-in-law is 18. She, just graduated early from high school. She's finished. But she would always be sitting at the table asking me a question. And I'd be like, do you understand that the answers you seek are on that thing that you use for Snapchat all damn day long? You know what I mean? Pull out your phone and GTS. Google that shit. And you will find yourself an answer. So, this says, Buffalo plaid originated from none other, like I should know who this is, Woolrich Woolen Mills. The company began producing the buffalo check shirt around 1850, which means we've been rocking this plaid for over 150 years. At its inception, the shirt was an instant hit with workers and outdoorsmen braving the elements and has been in the Woolrich line ever since. Legend has it that Woolrich the designer of the distinctive style, owned a herd of buffalo, and that's how it's got its name. The buffalo check design has since become synonymous with the Woolrich brand. So there you go.
I had no idea it was called a buffalo plaid. I just thought it, like I look at a buffalo plaid shirt and I'm like, oh, he's a lumberjack.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's the first thing you think. It's just, that's the lumberjack print or plaid or whatever. I didn't know it was called buffalo plaid. That's interesting. See, Josiah,
the things.
You learn something. You learn something.
This is what happens when you Google. Ian, Kara, that one's for free. You learned what buffalo plaid means because I'll tell you, as I'm printing hundreds of pillows with this buffalo plaid heart or buffalo plaid truck or buffalo plaid boots, my question every time to my production crew is, does anyone know what in the hell buffalo plaid is supposed to be? And now I can actually go in tomorrow and say, hey, let me lay down some knowledge on you. And they won't care. But I will have won my own personal victory because I finally know what buffalo plaid means. Thank God.
That's awesome, man. Well, guys, Ian and Kara, thank you guys so much for emailing the show.
Yes.
And keep doing it, guys. If you have a question, send it to us, and we might do another mailbag segment. Sometime in the future. I'm sure we will.
Yeah. I really enjoyed this. It's like we said, it's kind of a little different format, answering questions. But please do send in more about printing processes, life advice. It doesn't matter. Just send it in. We'll take a crack at it. And if all else fails, I'll Google it and give you an answer from the Google. But guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you for listening. And we're serious. Please go to printondemandcast.com to find the podcast. But more than that, info@printondemandcast.com. Send your questions in. We will answer them here live on the podcast. And after you're done sending in your question and we give you an answer, rate and subscribe on iTunes. Give us that 5-star review because of our amazing customer service and answering your questions right away without a bit.ly link that leads to why your package might be lost in the mail. We won't send that link to you. But as always, guys, thank you guys so much. Have a Merry, Merry Christmas. Stay safe, stay healthy, enjoy your family, and we'll be back with you right here on the Print On Demand Cast.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Print On Demand Cast. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you've got a question or a suggestion for the show, send Travis and Josiah an email at info@printondemandcast.com. Take a minute to rate and review the show on iTunes or wherever you get your podcast. And don't forget to subscribe now so you don't miss next week's episode. See you next week.